She doesn't just notice a hug, she feels it in ways she can't even explain. 1 second, it's just a polite gesture, and the next, it's something that lingers in her mind, makes her stomach tighten, and her heartbeat skip without warning. Most men walk through life thinking a hug is nothing more than a casual touch. But here's the truth they'll never tell you. The way you hold her, the energy you project, it communicates far more than words ever could. If you've ever wondered why some men leave women wanting more after a simple embrace, it's not luck. It's psychology, raw and unfiltered, wrapped in something you've likely never learned in school or from your friends. A hug is a subtle battlefield. Every inch of your posture, every second of hesitation, every micro movement whispers a story about who you are, whether you realize it or not. Women are wired to detect authenticity at levels men can barely comprehend. You can't fake presence. You can't fake dominance or confidence or warmth. She feels it before she even smiles at you, before she laughs at your jokes. And when you master it, that fleeting physical contact becomes a lever, a hidden switch that flips attraction in ways most men will spend years chasing without ever understanding why. Here's the first brutal truth: the wrong hug screams weakness. If you collapse your energy, if your arms wrap too tightly, too loosely, or too stiffly, it tells her more than words ever could. It says, I am unsure of myself. I am desperate for approval. I cannot lead. And let me tell you, nothing kills attraction faster than a subconscious signal of insecurity. Attraction isn't built in the bedroom or over dinner or through texts. It is built in the spaces in between, in the unspoken, in the brush of your hand, or the firmness of your hold. But when you get it right, it flips the script entirely. She feels safe, magnetic, drawn to the energy you exude rather than the words you speak. That is the secret men ignore. A woman doesn't fall for your stories. She falls for the energy you embody. Hugs are the purest, most primal way to broadcast that energy. Think about it. When she leans into you, she's testing a hypothesis, unconsciously calculating whether this man can anchor her emotions, whether he can make her feel something she's been starving for. That's why your hug matters more than your pickup lines, your jokes, or even your looks. The touch is the stage. Your energy is the performance. And here's where most men fail. They let logic dictate intimacy. They overthink positioning, overanalyze timing, overcompensate with charm. But attraction doesn't respond to logic. It responds to feeling. Every confident man who has ever walked out of a hug, leaving her mind racing, knew this instinctively. They understood, without consciously thinking, that attraction isn't given, it's evoked. Your hug can be the trigger. It can be the first spark of something she can't stop thinking about. And yet, so few men realize the enormous potential in that one fleeting embrace. So, before you ever try to impress her with words, before you ever try to buy her attention, understand this: the hug is your canvas. Your energy, your presence, your unspoken confidence, these are your paints. And if you've been doing it wrong, it's not because you're a bad person. It's because nobody taught you how to truly communicate through touch. But today, you're about to discover that. You're about to see why a simple hug, when executed correctly, can ignite hidden attraction faster than months of texting, dates, or conversations ever could. Most men never notice this. A hug is not just about arms meeting, it's about presence. It's about showing her, without words, that you are grounded, centered, and unmistakably masculine. Imagine for a moment 2 men hugging the same woman. One collapses into her like a lifeless board. The other holds himself with subtle strength, energy radiating from every fiber of his body. Guess which one lingers in her mind? The one who exudes presence. Presence is magnetic. It's primal. It signals safety, stability, and power, qualities that women are unconsciously drawn to. The hug is your first opportunity to broadcast it. Here's the first hidden rule: timing. It sounds simple, but almost every man gets it wrong. The moment your arms connect with hers is critical. Too fast and it feels rushed, desperate. Too slow and it feels hesitant, unsure. The perfect hug begins when you've created a micro moment of connection with her eyes before your bodies meet. That glance is the prelude, the unspoken agreement that this moment matters. And when your arms finally wrap around her, they aren't just holding, they're anchoring. Your energy becomes the framework of the embrace, and her subconscious begins to take notes. Second rule: contact points. Women are exquisitely sensitive to where and how you touch. Too high, too low, or just your hands awkwardly draped and you've telegraphed discomfort. But when your hands rest just right, slightly on her upper back, not squeezing, not stiff, The hug communicates something far more powerful than words: competence, confidence, the silent language of masculinity. Every slight adjustment, every micro-pressure shift is registering in her nervous system. She's evaluating without knowing it. She's not thinking, oh, he's touching me here. She's feeling, this man feels right. He feels safe. He feels like him. Rule 3 is duration. A hug is not a race. It's a subtle negotiation of chemistry. Too short, and the energy fizzles before it ignites. Too long, and it becomes awkward, forced, needy. The ideal hug is a delicate balance, a pause just long enough for her subconscious to register your presence, for her body to mirror your energy. In that instant, she begins to associate you with comfort and magnetic attraction simultaneously. That's the paradox most men miss. Attraction thrives in that tension between desire and safety. The hug is your tool to create it. And here's the final rule: release. How you let go matters as much as the hug itself. A confident man doesn't yank his arms away like a startled animal. He disengages with subtlety, leaving space for curiosity, leaving a trace of energy behind. That trace, lingering in her mind, is what she will replay later when you're not even in the room. She won't consciously know why she keeps thinking of that moment, but she will. Your hug becomes a reference point for desire, a silent message that sticks in the subconscious far longer than 1,000 words ever could. Understand this: the difference between a forgettable hug and a magnetic one isn't charm, money, or even looks. It's mastery of these hidden rules, the ability to project presence and control micro moments, to speak in a language only her subconscious understands. And once you grasp this, you'll notice something incredible. Your interactions shift. Women notice you differently. They seek your proximity. They remember you in ways that surprise even you. That one simple embrace becomes a catalyst for connection that most men will chase for years without ever unlocking. Most men have no idea that a hug is more than just physical contact. It's a psychological trigger that activates desire at a level she can't control. When you hug her correctly, you're speaking directly to her subconscious, sending signals she isn't even aware she's receiving. And this is where most men fail. They think attraction is built with charm, jokes, or compliments. But women don't fall for words. They fall for feeling, and the hug is the fastest, most intense way to make her feel something she can't articulate. The first psychological trigger is the rhythm of your energy. Think about it. When you hug, your heart, your breath, your subtle body movements, all of it communicates. If you're tense, anxious, or disconnected, she senses it instantly. But when you relax your body, anchor your energy, and match her pace subtly, her nervous system begins to mirror you. This mirroring is not conscious, it's primal. She starts feeling what you feel, and that shared rhythm ignites an unspoken connection that words could never achieve. The second trigger is the slight unpredictability of timing and movement. A hug that ends too predictably, too mechanically, fails to leave an impression. But a subtle variation, a gentle squeeze that lingers just a fraction longer than expected, a micro pause before release, creates emotional tension. That tension sparks curiosity and desire, because human brains are wired to notice what breaks patterns. Women feel it as intrigue. It's a small thing, but its effect is enormous. Third, the scent and warmth of your presence matter more than men realize. There's a reason pheromones exist and why proximity can feel electric. When you hug her with natural confidence, close enough for her to feel the heat of your body and the faint energy you radiate, it triggers a deep chemical recognition of masculinity. Her subconscious starts calculating compatibility before her conscious mind even speaks. She doesn't know why she's drawn in, but she is, powerfully, irresistibly. The fourth psychological trigger is release and aftercare. Most men forget that attraction isn't finished the moment you step back. How you disengage communicates as much as the hug itself. A confident release, smooth, measured, leaving just a hint of tension, signals that you are secure, dominant, and aware of the effect you've had. Her mind begins replaying the hug, even hours later, remembering how it made her feel, and her subconscious links those feelings directly to you. That's why some men can hug hundreds of women and leave zero impact, while others hug once and linger in memory. Finally, the hidden truth about attraction: it's all in the emotional residue. Every micro-signal, every second of pause, every inch of touch builds an invisible story in her mind. She associates you with warmth, safety, and masculine energy. She associates the hug with desire, curiosity, and intrigue. And when done correctly, she will think about that embrace long after it's over. She might not even understand why she's drawn to you, but you will have ignited something irresistible in her. Most men never master this because they underestimate touch, overestimate words, and misread signals. But here's your advantage. Understanding these subtle triggers gives you power that most men will spend a lifetime chasing without ever finding. Every hug is an opportunity to create attraction that feels natural, magnetic, and unforgettable if you know exactly how to execute it. By now, you understand that a hug isn't just touch, it's influence. It's a subtle psychological weapon when wielded correctly, a doorway into her subconscious where attraction is forged long before words ever matter. But here's the most overlooked truth. The hug alone won't make her feel this way if your mindset isn't aligned. Energy precedes action. Confidence precedes presence. Masculinity precedes desire. Women feel it instantly. You can perform all the micro movements, but if your inner state is weak, your hug will crumble under the weight of your insecurity. The magnetic hug mindset is simple, yet brutally effective. Be grounded. Be present. Be unapologetically you. Every breath, every subtle motion, every heartbeat during the hug must communicate that you are in control of yourself and your environment. That doesn't mean arrogance, it means balance. Strength with warmth. Dominance with awareness. Power without desperation. When you enter a hug with this mindset, she can't help but respond. Her body softens, her mind quiets, her subconscious begins linking you with security and intrigue at the same time. Next, remember that attraction is a story, not a transaction. Each hug is a sentence in a narrative she is building about you, whether she knows it or not. You are no longer just a man in her presence. You are a character she is silently evaluating. The right hug writes that story with precision. She feels drawn in, curious, even addicted to the energy you radiate. And once that story starts, it becomes self-reinforcing. She will seek your presence. She will replay the hug in her mind. She will unconsciously test for consistency, measuring if the energy you brought is reliable. That is why mastery isn't just one hug, it's every hug, every micro interaction, every unspoken signal that builds the magnetic aura around you. The final piece is the silent confidence of detachment. When you release her from the hug, do so with subtlety, leaving just enough tension behind to make her think. Not awkwardly, not stiffly, just enough that her mind lingers. That trace of energy is the hook, the spark that makes her recall the embrace long after it's over. Women don't just remember hugs, they remember how a hug made them feel. And if you can consistently give her that mix of safety, masculine energy, and subtle intrigue, you'll notice something remarkable. She begins seeking you out, drawn not just to your presence, but to the experience you create. Now here's the personal challenge for you. Imagine every hug you give as a question, every release as an answer. Think about this equation. Confidence plus presence plus subtle energy, damn attraction. Comment below with the result you think you're currently giving, and be honest with yourself. Are you leaving impact, or are you leaving her guessing? Like this video if you feel ready to master it, subscribe to train your mind and energy daily, and share this with a friend who needs to learn the hidden power of a single embrace. Remember, the right hug doesn't just make her feel good, it rewrites the story of how she sees you. Make it count.